Hello, everyone. Today's webinar is titled FDA Drug Topics, Important Orange Book Facts. My name is Dr. Thanh Nguyen-Chu, a pharmacist and team leader in the Division of Drug Information. I would like to welcome you to this educational activity sponsored by the FDA Center for Drug Evaluation and Research, Office of Communications, Division of Drug Information. We thank you and appreciate your patience as we continue to offer these CE courses completely virtual. If you experience any technical difficulties, please email us at ddiwebinars@fda.hhs.gov for direct assistance. Thank you. Before I introduce our speaker, I have a few housekeeping remarks. All faculty are expected to use generic names. If trade names are used, those of several companies should be used rather than only that of a single supporting company. Unapproved use disclosure. CE faculty speakers are required to disclose to the attendees when products or procedures being discussed are off-labeled, unlabeled, not FDA approved, and any limitations on the information that is presented. Disclosure. The faculties, planning committee members, and the FDA CE consultation and accreditation team have nothing to disclose. We hope you will enjoy meeting our presenter today. Dr. Eva Chan has been a pharmacist with the Division of Orange Book Publication and Regulatory Assessment, or DOBRA, since 2020. She has been with the FDA since 2015, when she started as a project manager with the Office of Bioequivalence in the Office of Generic Drugs. Before joining the FDA, she graduated from the University of Michigan College of Pharmacy in 2012 and worked as a pharmacist at the Kalamazoo Psychiatric Hospital. Now, please give a warm online welcome to Dr. Eva Chan.
Thank you, Tan. I will be giving an overview of the Orange Book today. I'll discuss the information that's available in the Orange Book and how you can use the Orange Book. At the end of today's webinar, you should be able to explain the types of products found in the Orange Book, discuss how to use the Orange Book to identify therapeutically equivalent products, recognize how drug products are categorized in the active and discontinued sections of the Orange Book, describe the patent information available, and distinguish the different types of exclusivities listed in the Orange Book. We'll begin with some background on the Orange Book. The official title of our publication is Approved Drug Products with Therapeutic Equivalence Evaluations. The first edition was published on Halloween of 1980, so that's why the color orange was chosen for our cover and hence the nickname Orange Book. Then in 1984, the Drug Price Competition and Patent Term Restoration Act was signed into law. This is also known as the Hatch-Waxman Amendments. These are amendments mandated that FDA publish and make available a list of drugs that are proved as safe and effective, and the Orange Book satisfies this requirement. Our publication serves as the regulatory resource for information on drug marketing status, therapeutic equivalence, and patents and exclusivities. It's also relied on by applicants who are submitting a generic drug application to the agency to identify information required to be included in their application. There are three key sections of the Orange Book. There is the Orange Book preface, and then, so that is available at the beginning of each annual edition, or you can also find a hyperlink to our preface on our Orange Book website. We have the drug product lists, which are made up of the prescription drug product lists that have the therapeutic equivalence evaluations. We have the over-the-counter drug product list, discontinued drug product list, and also a list of drugs approved under Section 505, but administered by CBER, the Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research. And then we have our patent and exclusivity addendum. So we'll begin with the preface. The preface is really important to the Orange Book. It has a wealth of information that is helpful for any user of the Orange Book, and I wanted to go over some key sections here. It begins with some background and relevant history about how the Orange Book started. It has a section about the content of the Orange Book and also what's excluded from the Orange Book. You'll find some definitions of therapeutic equivalence related terms that are useful when you're using the Orange Book. We have some general policies about the Orange Book, and in general, the Orange Book contains public advice and information. It doesn't mandate drug products to be purchased, prescribed, dispensed, or substituted for one another, nor does it mandate products to be avoided. And as a user or practitioner of the Orange Book, professional care and judgment should be exercised when using the Orange Book. Our therapeutic equivalence evaluations are based on scientific and medical evaluations. However, practitioners should be aware that products may still differ in other ways, such as shape, scoring, convention, colors, or preservatives. And then also there will be a section about the therapeutics equivalence evaluation codes used in the Orange Book. There's a list of all the different TE codes we have and their definitions. Also important to note, products that are not included in the Orange Book, which I'll highlight on this slide here. So pre-1938 drugs that are not the subject of an approved application are not in the Orange Book. Pre-1962 drugs that have not completed the DESI process are not in the Orange Book. Approved products which discontinued marketing prior to 1987 are not in the Orange Book because the discontinued section was not added until 1987. Tentatively approved drugs are not in the Orange Book. For example, if a product was approved but gets converted back to tentative approval, that will be removed from the Orange Book. Marketed drug products that are not the subject of an approved new drug application or abbreviated new drug application, or ANDA, are not in the Orange Book. Some of these examples would include OTC monograph products, biologics license applications, or unapproved products. Also important to note, products such as authorized generics or relabeled drug products that are marketed under an application that is in the Orange Book will not be listed separately. If you are interested in cross-referencing what application your product may be marketed under, you can check the NDC directory. The Orange Book is updated frequently. We have daily updates, which include ANDA approvals and patents. We also have bi-monthly and monthly updates. These include new NDA approvals, exclusivities, ownership or market status changes, or other changes related to therapeutic equivalence code or trade name or reference standard designation. The Orange Book is also available for download on our website. We have data files that are updated monthly. These are text files. They contain product data and unexpired patent and exclusivity data. You can download these and convert it into Excel or Access so that way you can filter the data however you like. We also have our cumulative supplements. These are updated monthly as well. They're available in PDF format. They are posted to our website generally at the end of the second week of each month, and they contain all the changes that occurred up to the prior month. So for example, June 14th was our latest monthly update, and that contains all the changes in the Orange Book up to May of 2024. And of course, we also have our annual edition. This is in PDF format as well, which you can download, and it's published every January and contains all the changes from the previous year. So in this case, our latest edition was the 44th edition, which published in January, and it contained all the changes to the Orange Book that occurred in 2023. If you're interested in obtaining any previous annual editions or previous monthly data files or cumulative supplements, you can request these files under the Freedom of Information Act, or FOIA. You can submit your request online at the link on the slide, or you may submit it in writing to the address in Rockville there. Next, we'll go on to therapeutic equivalents. So what are therapeutic equivalents? They are approved drug products that are pharmaceutical equivalents for which bioequivalence has been demonstrated. and that can be expected to have the same clinical effect and safety profile when administered to patients under the conditions specified in the labeling. Breaking down the definition further, pharmaceutical equivalents are products that contain identical amounts of the identical active drug ingredient in the identical dosage form and route of administration and have this identical strength or concentration. The definition of bioequivalence is the absence of a significant difference in the rate and extent to which the active ingredient in the drug product becomes available at the site of action. So in total, therapeutic equivalence is PE plus BE under the conditions specified in the labeling. It should have the same clinical effect and safety profile. So what do the therapeutic equivalence codes mean in the Orange Book? The TE codes in the Orange Book reflect FDA's evaluation of whether the marketed, multi-source prescription drug products listed in the Orange Book are therapeutically equivalent to other pharmaceutically equivalent products. These evaluations are presented in the form of code letters that indicate the evaluation was made. TE evaluations provide publicly available advice to state health agencies, prescribers, pharmacists. They promote education on drug product selection, which helps foster containment of healthcare costs. TE codes. We have two groups of TE codes. The first group are A codes. Products with an A code are considered therapeutically equivalent. Some examples of A ratings include AB, AA, AN, etc. The second letter of the code will provide additional information on the dosage form. The most common A rating you're going to see in the Orange Book is AB. Our second group of TE codes are the B ratings. These also have multiple ratings such as BC, BD, BP. However, the most common one you'll see in the B group is BX. And you can find more information about the different TE codes used in the Orange Book and their definition in section 1.7 of the preface. Moving on to marketing status. There are three marketing statuses available in the Orange Book: prescription, or RX, over-the-counter, or OTC, and discontinued, DISCN. On the right there is a screenshot of our electronic Orange Book. You can see that all three statuses are available to be seen in the same page, whereas if you're looking in our PDF versions of our annual edition, for example, these three sections are split up. A few more notes about the discontinued product list. We also refer to it as the discontinued section. This is a cumulative list of approved drug products that have never been marketed. They are for exportation, for example, to be marketed outside of the US. They are for military use. They are not commercially distributed by a US federal or state government, or they have been discontinued from marketing and FDA has not yet determined that they were withdrawn from sale for reasons of safety or effectiveness, or it includes products that have had their approvals withdrawn for reasons other than safety or effectiveness. A few more notes about that category. So products that are withdrawn from sale, it includes products that have their applications where the approval has been withdrawn for the application. But on the other hand, it also includes products for which there was any decision to discontinue marketing. Some examples we've seen for this could be like lack of demand or unable to obtain the active ingredient, etc. Products in this category also include products that have had their safety and effectiveness determination published in the Federal Register. These products are annotated with a footnote. Federal Register determination that product was not discontinued or withdrawn for safety or efficacy reasons. You'll see that in the Orange Book. If you have more questions about products that are withdrawn from sale, you can refer to Section 506I of the FDA&C Act or FDA's Guidance for Industry Marketing Status Notification. How are products moved from the active to the discontinued section? SABRA will move products from the active to discontinued section based on a letter that the application holder submits to their applicable NDA or ANDA file. The letter should be prominently identified as administrative change / not available for sale. and the notification should be submitted 180 days before withdrawing the product or as soon as practicable. On the other hand, products that are moved from the discontinued to active section, we also require a letter from the applicant holder in this case as well. FDA recommends requests to be submitted 30 to 60 days before the anticipated launch date, but no later than the date commercial marketing is commenced. The request should contain a statement of whether a submission of a supplement is required prior to or at the time of introduction of the drug product, and also the planned launch date. This notification should be titled Administrative Change / Notification of Commercial Marketing. And moving on to the next section, patents. What are patents? Patents are property rights granted by the United States Patent and Trademark Office to an inventor that exclude others from practicing the invention for a limited time in exchange for public disclosure of the invention. They can be issued any time during the life cycle of a drug and can encompass a wide range of claims. Currently, the term of a new patent is 20 years from the date on which the application for the patent was filed in the U.S. How are patents listed in the Orange Book? Patents are listed based on information submitted by NDA holders. NDA holders submit information for the following categories of patents: drug substance or active ingredient, drug product, this includes the formulation or composition, and method of use. The NDA holder must submit this patent information on Form FDA 3542 in order for it to be published in the Orange Book. And please note that expired patents and exclusivities will drop off the Orange Book website January 1st of the following year. So for example, any patents that expire in 2024 will still be seen on our Orange Book website, and they'll fall off automatically on January 1st, 2025. If you want more information about submitting patents, you can check 21 CFR 314.53. So besides a patent falling off the Orange Book because they expire, another way patents can be removed is per request from the NDA holder. If the NDA holder determines the patent or patent claim no longer meets the requirements for listing, they must submit a delist request. However, the patent may not always be able to be removed. A patent may remain listed in the Orange Book for a certain period of time because there could be ANDA applicants eligible for 180-day exclusivity based on a paragraph 4 certification to that patent. In this case, we will add a delist request flag next to the patent. And as I said before, patents are added to the Orange Book based on what the NDA holder submits. However, any person other than the NDA holder can dispute the accuracy or relevance of that patent information that's published in the Orange Book. FDA will post information about patent disputes to our website. The patent listing dispute list is cumulative, and it contains information about the drug product, about the information about the disputed patent, and also information about the NDA holder's response to our dispute. Moving on to exclusivity. Exclusivities are a period of limited protection from competition as provided for in the FD&C Act. These are granted by the FDA. These are the types of exclusivities available. We have exclusivities for NDAs, which are new chemical entity, new clinical investigation, orphan, pediatric, generating antibiotic incentives now. And we also have ANDA exclusivities. There's 2 of them, patent challenge and competitive generic therapy. The NDA exclusivities, we have the new chemical entity, or NCE. This is a 5-year exclusivity that's granted for a new active moiety. This exclusivity bars submission of 505(b)(2) applications and ANDAs during that 5-year exclusivity period. However, some applications may be submitted after 4 years if they contain a certification of patent invalidity or non-infringement. There is the new clinical investigation. These include a bunch of different codes, which I'll show on the next slide. These are 3-year exclusivities. They're granted upon a new condition of approval that is supported by new clinical investigation that was essential to approval and conducted by the NDA holder. This provides limited protection from new competition in the marketplace for the exclusivity protected conditions of approval. And then we have the orphan exclusivity, or ODE. This is a 7-year exclusivity that's granted for a product indicated to treat a rare disease or condition. This is granted by the Office of Orphan Products Development Office. They have a website where you can search for drugs to find out which drugs have been designated or approved as orphan. And here's an example of a screenshot of our different types of 3-year new clinical investigation codes. Some common ones you're going to see in the Orange Book will be I for new indication, or NP for new product, NPP for new patient population. And then we have a lot of M codes for miscellaneous. And our remaining 2 NDA exclusivities are add-ons. We have our pediatric, or PED. This adds an additional 6 months to certain patents and exclusivities. It's granted for conducting pediatric studies. And then we have our generating antibiotic incentives now, or GAIN exclusivity. This adds an additional 5 years of exclusivity. It's given to products that are granted a qualified infectious disease product designation. And our 2 ANDA exclusivities, these are both 180-day exclusivities. We have our PC, or patent challenge. This is granted to the first ANDA applicant or group of applicants that file a substantially complete ANDA, which contains and lawfully maintains a paragraph 4 certification to a listed patent. And then we have the CGT, or competitive generic therapy exclusivity. This is granted to the first approved applicant for drugs designated as CGT, and for which there were no unexpired patents or exclusivities listed in the Orange Book or the reference listed drug at the time the ANDA was submitted. Now we'll go through an example of how you could use the electronic Orange Book. This is our electronic Orange Book landing page. In the first section, you'll see you can search for approved drugs. You can search by proprietary name, active ingredient, or application number. You could also search by the applicant holder, or dosage form, or route of administration. The bottom section has a way to search for patents, and you can view newly added patents or delisted patents. I also want to point out this hyperlink here, additional information and resources for the Orange Book. If you click that, that'll take you to our Orange Book website, where you can find all of our relevant downloads, like the cumulative supplements, the data files, the annual edition. You'll find a link to the patent dispute list. There's frequently asked questions, and you'll find some other guidances that are relevant to the Orange Book. So this is an example. Say I want to search for all products approved for ticagrelor. This is an example of the results page. You can see in the first column, there is the market status. We have the first 4 products. Those are in the active section. They're RX. And then the bottom section has the discontinued products. You'll see the second column is active ingredient. And then the third column is the proprietary name. In general, when a product does not have a proprietary name, we will just put the active ingredient there. The fourth column is the application number. N stands for NDA, and A stands for ANDA. And then we have our dosage form, the route, and the strength. Then you'll see the TE code column here. You see these 3 products are given an AB rating. These 3 are in the active section, and because they are therapeutically equivalent, they were given an AB TE code. You'll also notice that in the first line listing for the 60 milligram product, it does not have a TE code. That's because this one is single source. There are other 60 milligram products approved, you can see in the discontinued section. However, since the 60 milligram is the only one in the active section, it doesn't receive a TE code. And then these 2 columns, we have the RLD and RS. RLD stands for reference listed drug. This is the drug product upon which applicants rely on when seeking approval of their ANDA. So they would refer to this NDA in their application. And then we have RS for reference standard. This is the drug product that an applicant should use when conducting studies required for their ANDA application. And then we have the applicant holder in the last column. If you want some more product-specific information, you can click any of the application numbers. So here, so if we wanted to learn more about these two products, we could click these hyperlinks, and then you would see product details. You'll see like the approval date and the product number here. And then also there's this hyperlink, the blue patent and exclusivity information. If you click on that, I'll take you to our next page, which has the patent exclusivity information for that specific product. Not all products under the same application number will have the same patents and exclusivities. So this one is for product 1. And you can see here, this is the patent information. We have the patent number in the second column. You also see the PED. That means this application has a pediatric extension. So the third column is the patent expiration. The middle columns show what this patent covers. So there's DS for drug substance or DP for drug product. And then you'll also see the patent use code. If you hover over those different use codes, you'll see what the definition is. And then the second to last column is the D-list requested column. So if any of these patents had been, if the NDA holder had submitted a request to delist, but we were unable to delist it, we would put a Y for yes in this column. And then the last column is the submission date of the patent. And then the bottom half of the page is going to show the exclusivity data for this product. So for example, you see here, this product has an I code and an M code. And then you also see the PED, it also has a pediatric extension there. If you hover over these codes, you'll also see the definition of the exclusivity code. And in the last column is the expiration date for those exclusivities. If you click down here, these are hyperlinks where you can see the list of all patent use codes in the Orange Book or a list of all exclusivity codes. And this is an example of what it looks like. So here, this is our patent use code table. It lists all the use codes, and up in the upper right, you can search if you are looking for specific codes. You can type a few words or letters in there to search what use code is already in the Orange Book. And similarly, we have our exclusivity code table. At the top, you see the codes that are exclusivity codes without numbers, and you can see their definition next to them. And at the bottom is an example of our exclusivity codes that have numbers. So the D codes, the dosing codes have lots of different numbers. There's also I codes or M codes, and even ODE codes have different numbers. And you can search for those as well. And I also wanted to bring up an example of a B code. So here we have albuterol sulfate inhalation. Down here, you see Ventolin HFA. It has a BX code. So this indicates, so if you look at this page, you see there are several products that look pharmaceutically equivalent. Albuterol sulfate, aerosol inhalation, 0.09 milligrams base for inhalation. So to identify that that it's not therapeutically equivalent, this one is given a BX. Whereas the other ones, if you're looking for some other products, so here, this is another RLD. This is Proventil. It's given an AB1 code. So if you want to look for products that are therapeutically equivalent to Proventil, you would look for other products that have the TE code AB1. So up here, the first two rows, so those are considered therapeutically equivalent to Proventil. And then we have another RLD here, ProAir. So that one was given a TE code AB2. So if you want to find therapeutically equivalent products to ProAir, you would look for products that have the AB2 TE code. So in summary, The Orange Book contains a wide range of information on drugs approved under Section 505 of the FDA Act. It includes therapeutic equivalence evaluations for approved multi-source prescription drug products. The FDA Act and FDA regulations require NDA and ANDA holders to notify the agency of their marketing status of their drug products. It also requires certain patent information to be submitted by NDA holders. The Orange Book serves as a resource for identifying marketing protections for listed drugs or exclusivities. The FDA continues its effort to maximize the usefulness around the Orange Book for its stakeholders by providing greater clarity around frequently asked questions about the Orange Book. And these are our references for today's presentation. If you have any questions, feel free to email us at our mailbox, orangebook@fda.hhs.gov.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Chan. That was a great presentation. Our speaker will take a few questions from the audience. So let me just look through some of the questions. All right, so the first question we have is, why doesn't FDA assign TE codes to OTC products?
That's a great question. So the Orange Book was created in mind to assist formulary makers selecting prescription products that are therapeutically equivalent to their branding products. Since OTC products don't require dispensing via prescription, they do not have the therapeutically equivalent evaluation to provide substitution information.
Oh, thank you for that, Eva. The next question we have is the Orange Book information considered as the official FDA listing of NDA, ANDA, BLA holders, patents, exclusivity, etc.?
BLAs are not included in the Orange Book. Those are found in the Purple Book. But otherwise, yes, the Orange Book does list all the information for NDAs, for approved NDAs and ANDAs, and their patents and exclusivity information.
Okay, thank you. The next question we have is, are all active OTC drugs listed in the Orange Book?
They should be, yes. Any approved product should be included in the Orange Book that is safe and effective.
Okay. The next one, can you filter?
Oh, I'm sorry, to clarify that if the OTC product is submitted under an NDA or ANDA, as I mentioned in my earlier slide, there are OTC products that can use the OTC monograph pathway. Those are not under an application under an ANDA or NDA. So those types of OTC products are not in the Orange Book.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. We will move on to the next question. Can you filter the Orange Book to find approved new drugs, such as original drug, not therapeutic equivalents, in a certain therapeutic area?
So unfortunately, the Orange Book doesn't have a type of filter for therapeutic class. In general, if you're looking for an original approved drug, those would be usually the NDAs, and usually they're designated RLD. I think there are some other pages, Ton, right, on the FDA's website that do list new drug approvals.
There are. In the drugs at FDA page, drug approvals are listed on there, and you can filter, by drug name or by the month of approval. And then there are some other pages as well on the FDA's pages, but drugs at FDA is a great resource to use. The next question we have is, what are the main differences between the patent and exclusivity data?
As I mentioned on my slides, patents are granted by a different office, the USPTO, whereas exclusivities are granted by the FDA. And then we list the information that we have on the Orange Book. So any patent information that is submitted by the NDA holder, we'll list it on there. And exclusivities, when they are approved, we'll list them on our website, usually within a month of their approval.
Okay, thank you so much. I think we have another question about patent exclusivity. So does patent exclusivity apply if the product has conditional approval?
I'm not sure what conditional approval would mean, but the Orange Book will only list products that are fully approved. So I don't know if that product is tentatively approved. It wouldn't be in the Orange Book, so we wouldn't have that information.
Okay, thank you for that. Another question we received was, can I find repackager information in the Orange Book? I have difficulty finding the detailed product information for repackaged products.
No, so the Orange Book does not list any repackager information. I mentioned before, if you have your product in hand and you have the NDC number, you can search in the NDC directory for that NDC, and then that'll identify the application number if that product is being marketed under an NDA or an ANDA. We only list the official applicant holder in our Orange Book. There would just be too many to list.
Thank you for that. So the next question we have is, what does it mean if there is no TE code for a drug product listed in the Orange Book?
If there's no TE code, for example, for prescription products, that would mean there are many different reasons why a product wouldn't have a TE code. For example, it could be a single source prescription product. It may be an OTC product. Those aren't given TE codes. Or we don't have information that it's therapeutic equivalent to other products.
Okay, thank you so much. The next question is, if a drug product is repackaged or distributed by someone other than the applicant, will it be given a TE code?
Products that are repackaged are, so as I mentioned, they're not going to be listed in the Orange Book, but if it's approved, if it's being marketed under a certain application number, whatever TE code that application has is going to be the TE code for that repackager.
Okay, thank you for that. The next question we have is, what are the circumstances where AB1, AB2, and AB2 ratings, etc., are assigned?
Okay, so on this slide that I mentioned before, you can see there are several products, several RLDs right here in the middle that appear pharmaceutical equivalent. So they have the same active ingredient, albuterol sulfate. They have the same dosage form, aerosol, metered, same route, inhalation, and then the same strength, EQ 0.9 milligram base per inhalation. So if you were looking at that, you would wonder, could they be, are they therapeutic equivalent? However, based on the TE codes, they are not therapeutic equivalent, so you want to look for the matching TE code. So each of these RLDs are given different TE codes, so that means they are not therapeutically equivalent. And so these break up the different families, so that way you know which ANDAs belong with which RLD.
Thank you for that. That was a great question. The next question we have is, do the same teams in the FDA handle the Orange Book, Green, and Purple books, or are the teams different?
I think different teams manage each book. So our team, the DABRA team, Division of Orange Book Publication and Regulatory Assessment, we manage the Orange Book. I believe the Purple Book contains information for all biologic products, biosimilars in those. And I think they're managed by CBER, the Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research. And then the Green Book, I think is for animal drug products. So I think it's managed by the Center for Veterinary Medicine.
Thank you for that. So we have a couple more minutes, so we'll kind of try to go through a few more questions. So the next one is, what is an authorized generic?
Authorized generics are drugs that are marketed, sold, or distributed directly or indirectly, and they have a different labeling or packaging other than the listed drug, but it is the same drug as long as it's under the same application number as the brand name product. Those are the same.
Okay, thank you. We have someone asking, can you explain the difference between single source and multi-source products?
Sure. When we say single source product, that means that there's only one of that product in the active section. And then multi-source would mean there are multiple pharmaceutically equivalent products in the active section. So because there's more than one product in the active section, if they're therapeutically equivalent, we'd give them a TE code so you know they could be substituted. Whereas a single source product, there's nothing else to substitute for that one, so it wouldn't have a TE code.
Thank you for that. The next question we have is, do EAU approved drugs with licensing agreements have TE codes?
So the Orange Book is only going to contain products that have an NDA or an ANDA that is approved in the US. I mean, if a product, I don't know, does that mean European products? I mean, if they were to submit an application, an NDA or ANDA, then it would be, if it's approved, then it could get a TE code if there are other pharmaceutically equivalent products.
Okay, thank you for that, Eva. As for the different TE codes, as you cited as AB1, AB2, and BX, what are the reasons for the different coding when it is the same active ingredient, same route, and same dose?
So the three-letter character codes are to separate the different RLD families. So any applicant holder can submit a drug, but another applicant holder can submit the same drug, but those may be different. And so if ANDA applicants want to use one of those RLDs for the basis of submission for the application, they're going to replicate their ANDA based on that RLD. So those two different RLDs, unless they've shown that they're therapeutic equivalent, they're going to be, their ANDA families will also be different. So the three-letter codes are there to help you separate the ANDA families.
Thank you, Eva. That was a great question. So just a few minutes left, so we're going to ask probably just two more questions. The first one is, how can an applicant determine if an RLD has been withdrawn from sale for reasons of safety or effectiveness?
If an RLD has been withdrawn for reasons of safety or effectiveness, it may be removed from the Orange Book. If the RLD is in the discontinued section and it does not have that safety and effectiveness footnote, it may still be under review, or you could request that safety and effectiveness review via a citizen petition.
Okay, thank you so much, Eva. And our last question here, are current copies of the Orange Book publication available on the website?
Yes, you can download any of our current month's data files, current cumulative supplement, or the current annual edition on our Orange Book website. The link is in our reference slide.
Thank you so much, Eva. If you have questions that we did not have time to address today, please email them to our Division of Drug Information email address at druginfo@fda.hhs.gov for assistance. If you need more CEs for your license renewals this year, please check out our list of home study CE webinars at www.fda.gov/DDI webinars. And if you have your phones out, we have 6 QR codes on the slide here in front of you that are easy to access. There's a QR code for X, the Drug Information Listserv, our continuing education webpage, our podcast, our Gaddis LinkedIn group, and our fellowship program. Please scan these QR codes for more information and CE opportunities. You may also find additional CE credits, such as FDA's drug regulation course titled FDA's Role in Public Health, Drug Efficacy, Safety, Quality, and Beyond on our CEDAR Learn website by entering CEDAR Learn in the search engine on fda.gov. This concludes our activity for today. The FDA appreciates your participation in this webinar. Thank you all for attending, and please stay safe and healthy. Have a good day.